strategy, which seeks, amongst other objectives, to moderate debt service costs by accessing relatively cheaper external funds and to free up space in the domestic market for other borrowers. Funding plan. I wish to bring to the attention of the President of the Senate that the plan is to raise the sum of USD $6.183 billion from a combination of sources, normally multilateral and bilateral lenders, as well as from the international capital market, ICM, through the issuance of Eurobonds. From recent trends in the ICM, it is now possible for Nigeria to raise funds in the ICM, and this explains why we are proposing that the new external borrowing in the 2021 Appropriation Act should include issuing Eurobonds in the ICM. We estimate that Nigeria may be able to raise $3 billion or more, but not more than $6.183 billion, the amount provided in the 2021 Appropriation Act, in a combination of tenors between 5 to 30 years. The outcome would, however, be determined when Nigeria approaches the market. The President of the Senate may further wish to note that not only is the ICM now open to issuers like Nigeria and interest rates lower than the levels in 2020, given the recent monetary policy stance as well as raising levels of inflation, the level of liquidity in the domestic market has decreased while domestic interest rates are beginning to rise. Therefore, accessing the ICM will be relatively cheaper, thereby moderating debt service cost, and it will also contribute to the level of external reserves. Please see Table 1 for the comparative yields of federal government of Nigeria bonds in the domestic securities market and Nigeria's Eurobonds in the ICM of similar tenors as at March 30, 2021. Also see Appendix 1 for all the outstanding Nigeria securities, Eurobonds, and diaspora bond and their respective yields as at March 30, 2021. The table, comparative yields for the domestic market and Eurobonds as at March is provided in Table 1. Utilization of proceeds of new external borrowing. The proceeds of the USD $6.183 billion, about 2.343 trillion naira new external borrowing in the 2021 Appropriation Act will be used to fund specific capital projects in the budget. This includes projects from priority sectors of the economy, namely power, transportation, agriculture, rural development, education, health, provision of counterpart funding for multilateral and bilateral projects, defense, and water resources. Summary of indicative terms and conditions. With respect to the terms and conditions of the proposed external borrowings, the President of the Senate may wish to note that the multilateral and bilateral institutions operate on standard terms and conditions, and these are outlined in Appendix 2. In the case of Eurobonds, the final terms and conditions, interest rate, and tenors can only be determined at the point of issuance of the bonds in the ICM and will be subject to market conditions prevailing at that time. In the event that some or all of the USD $6.183 billion has to be raised through Eurobonds, the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning and the Debt Management Office, working with the federal government's appointed transaction advisors, will ensure that Nigeria secures the best terms and conditions within the context of the market. Meanwhile, the indicative terms and conditions are attached as Appendix 3 for your information. Required resolutions. As stated in paragraph 2, the President of the Senate may wish to note that the resolution of the National Assembly in the attached format, Appendix 4, is required to implement the new external borrowing of USD $6,183,081,643.40 in the 2021 Appropriation Act. Prayer. The President of the Senate may wish to note that, in line with the provisions of Sections 21, Subsection 1 and 27, Subsection 1 of the DMO Act, a specific resolution of the National Assembly is required for external borrowing as stated in paragraphs 2 and 9. Accordingly, the Senate is invited to consider and approve a resolution in the format outlined hereunder, which is also attached as Appendix 4, as stated in paragraph 9. A. The implementation of the new external borrowing of 2 trillion naira, 2,343,387,942,848 naira, about USD 6,193,081,643.40 at the budget exchange rate of USD 1 to 379 naira in the 2021 Appropriation Act, and that the amount should be raised from multiple sources, multilateral and bilateral sources as may be available, and through the issuance of euro bonds in the international capital market. And B, the issuance of euro bonds in the sum of USD $3 million or more, but not more than $6.183 billion approved as new external borrowing in the 2021 Appropriation Act. While looking forward to the timely issuance of the resolution by the National Assembly, please accept the single Senate President the assurances of my highest consideration. Yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari. Letter from Mr. President. Dear Distinguished Senate President, request for the Senate's concurrent approval of donor fund projects under the 2018-2020 Federal Government External Borrowing Rolling Plan. It is with pleasure that I forward the list of all the donor-funded projects under the 2018-2020 Federal Government External Borrowing Rolling Plan for the consideration and concurrent approval of the Senate for same to become effective. See Annex Char 1. The projects listed under the 2018-2020 External Borrowing Plan are to be financed through sovereign loans from the World Bank, African Development Bank, FDB, French Development Agency, FD, Islamic Development Bank, China Exim Bank, China Development Bank, European Investment Bank, European ECA, IPEX, AFC, India Exim Bank, and International Fund for Agricultural Development, IFAD, at a total sum of USD $6,837,281,256 plus euro 910,000 and grant component of USD 10 million US dollars. The single Senate President may wish to know that the projects and programs in the borrowing plan were selected based on positive technical and economic evaluations, as well as the contribution they will make to the socio-economic development of the country, including employment generation and poverty reduction, as well as protection of the most vulnerable and very poor segments of Nigerian society. The single Senate President may also wish to know that all the listed projects form part of the 2018 to 2020 External Borrowing Plan and covered both the federal and state government projects and are geared towards the realization of the Nigeria Economic Sustainability Plan that cut across key sectors such as infrastructure, health, agriculture and food security, energy, education and human capital development, and COVID-19 response efforts. A summary of some key projects in each of the 6 geopolitical zones and a summary on the expected impacts on the socio-economic development of each of the 6 geopolitical zones are attached here with as Annex 2 and 3. Given the importance attached to the timely delivery of the projects listed in the proposed borrowing plan and the benefits both the federal and state governments stand to gain from the implementation of same, I hereby wish to request for the kind consideration and concurrent approval of the Senate for the 2018-2020 Federal Government External Borrowing Rolling Plan to enable the projects to become effective. Please accept the single Senate President the assurance of my personal warm regards. Yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari. Letter from Senator Oluremi S. Tinubu, OON. Your Excellency, notice of public hearing. Recall that the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as its plenary sessions on Tuesday, 23rd March 2021 and Wednesday, 26 April 2021, read the Nigerian Postal Service Act number 127 LFN 2004, Repeal and Establishment Bill 2021, SB 657, and the Nationwide Toll-Free Emergency Number Establishment Bill 2021, SB 583, respectively, and refer same to the Committee for Further Legislative Action. Pursuant to these resolutions, the committee hereby seizes this opportunity to invite the single senators, stakeholders, and the general public to a one-day public hearing on the 2 bills slated to hold in the Senate Conference Room 022, Senate New Building at 9 a.m. on Monday, 24th May 2021. Stakeholders are enjoined to forward their memoranda to the Committee Secretariat in Room 4.4, Senate Wing, White House Building, National Assembly Complex, Abuja, on or before Thursday, 20th May 2021. Please do accept the renewed assurance of my kindest regards, signed Senator Olurami S. Tinubu, OON, Chairman, Communications Committee. Letter from Distinguished Senator Uche Lilian Ekwinefe Iyon, PhD, CNA, HCIB, NMI, Anyawunyiri Adogbo Igbo. Notification of my interest to run for the office of the Governor of Anambra State and appeal for your support and prayers. And this letter is addressed to distinguished senators. May I humbly use this medium to inform you of my decision to run for the office of the Governor of Anambra State. This is born out of my desire to change the paradigm of development in Anambra State, especially in the areas of infrastructural development, security, education, health, agriculture, and general socio-economic well-being of the people of Anambra State, in line with the 21st century concept of development. Being a successful former banker, a two-term member of the House of Representatives, and now a sitting two-term senator, whose service to the nation has never been in doubt, I consider myself well prepared with the capacity to take on the challenges of the exalted office of the Governor of Anambra State. As the primary election draws nearer, precisely on 26 June 2021, I solemnly solicit for your support and prayers to help me scale through this very important stage, which you know is a prelude to the election proper, which is coming up on Saturday, 6 November 2021. While thanking you all in anticipation of your support, I promise to run an all-inclusive government that will bring us into a solid and fruitful partnership. Please accept the assurance of my esteemed regards, Senator Uche Lilian Ekwinefe Iyon. Birthday announcements. The following senators celebrated their birthdays while we were on break. Distinguished Senator Amos Bulus Kilowang, 10th May. Distinguished Senator Mohammed Sani Musa, 11th May. Distinguished Senator Ike Ikwaramadu, the former Deputy President of the Senate, Ike Okoha, 12th May. And Senator Yakubu Oseni, 15th May. On behalf of the Senate, I wish the distinguished senators, our colleagues, a happy birthday for every one of them. Long life, prosperity, and many more years of service to our fatherland. Congratulations to all of them. Also, the 16th of May was the birthday of the 6th President of the Senate, Senator Ame Abute. On behalf of the Senate, I wish the 6th President of the Senate a happy birthday, long life, prosperity, and many more years of service to our fatherland. Congratulations to His Excellency. Petitions. Petition, Senator Nicholas Tofomo.
Senate President, I'm putting up a motion on standing under 42.
No, we are not there yet. I said petitions. Is it a petition? Petitions, Senator Patrick Ayo Akinye-Lure.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, I rise to present petitions not laid, but refer to the Committee on Ethics from the Office of the President of the Senate. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions, in line with Order 41, 1 and 3, wishes to present to the Senate some petitions yet to be laid from the Office of the President of the Senate in order to officially place the petitions in the public domain through the floor of the Senate and for the votes and proceedings to capture the approval for referral. Mr. President, I have the following petitions. 1. P. Idehe and M.A. Onadina Esquire. Respondent, Honorable Shegun Ebenezer Ogunwi. Subject matter of the petition. Petition against Honorable Shegun Ebenezer Ogunwi for negligence, nonchalant attitude in handling the abduction of his driver, Mr. Motosho Shola. 2. Petitioner Femi Falana against the Senate and National Human Rights Commission. Request to ensure compliance with Section 143 of the Constitution and Section 4 of the Federal Character Commission Establishing Act on the appointment of members of the Governing Council of the National Human Rights Commission. 3. Petition from S.A. Ayesa Esquire against Nigerian Police Force. Petition against dismissal of Festus Ilebusi from Nigerian Police Force. And finally, Mr. President, Omes Ogelegbe Esquire against Nigerian Police Force. Demand for award of 10 million naira damages for the late Chinedu Obi as represented by Gabriel E. and others against the Nigerian Police Force on the killings of Chinedu Obi, age 26, a final year student of University of Port Harcourt, by men of the Nigerian Police Force, Sangwater, Ogun State, by the Nigerian Police, by the Senate. Mr. President, dear colleagues, to the best of my knowledge, none of the above petition is seeking judicial remedy. I therefore move, Mr. President, to seek the indulgence of the Senate to lay the petition before the Senate for official referral to the committee for further legislative actions. I so move, Mr. President.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Is any of the petitioners seeking any judicial remedy? You may lay the petitions. The petitions are referred to the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges, and Public Petitions to report back within 4 weeks. Any more petitions? Any more petitions? Point of order, Senator Abdul Fattah Buhari.
Mr. President, Order 4252.
Distinguished, you may have to wait when I call the leader first. Did you come under 4252? Yes. Okay, you may read.
Mr. President, the matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting, and the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. Mr. President, 52, notice shall not be dispensed with the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceeding for which notice is required, except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the Senator present.
Okay, you go ahead and give us the synopsis.
It's in connection with the excesses of the Nigerian custom in my senatorial in the last 3 weeks. It happened that, can I proceed, Mr. President? Oh, I thought you would take the leave.
No, you just give us a synopsis because I have to put the question until the Senate gives you that permission. You can't go into the details.
Excesses of the custom officers in my senatorial in the last 3 weeks. Mr. President, just on Thursday, the day that is meant for celebration, 5 innocent Nigerians were killed in the broad daylight in Ishayin local government. And that's the reason why I believe the Senate being the place you can get justice from, that the President should allow me to inform my colleagues so that justice can be done in this case, sir.
Thank you very much, distinguished Senator Buhari. I have no problem with that, but we need at least 1/5 of senators present for your request to be granted. For those in favor of his request that we allow him to present his motion on what happened in his senatorial district, say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. You may proceed, please.
Distinguished colleague, urgent need for the investigation of the recent killing of civilians by men of the Nigerian Customs Services in Ishayin, breaking of shops in Ogbomoso and Ibadan, and the need for men of the Nigerian Customs Service to maintain a more professional disposition in the exercise of their official duty. The Senate note that the right to life is a qualified constitutional right in Nigeria, and provide that person living in Nigeria shall have a right to life. No one shall be deprived intentionally of his life unless in the execution of the sentence of a court for a criminal offense and he has been found guilty. Further note that in furtherance of this right to life, police officers or soldiers may not resort to lethal force such as firing live ammunition at people unless their own lives or life of other people are immediate danger, or less extreme measures are not available to avert the danger. Aware that officers of Nigerian Customs Services statutorily empowered to bear arms and are accorded all rights given to police officers in the execution of their official duty at the border posts of the country. Regret that the customs have abused these privileges and then turned themselves to something else by terrorizing and harassing innocent Nigerians, breaking their shops in absentia, cutting away money and rice in their shop. The sum of 1.5 million, 600 bags of rice were carted away in Ogbomoso, as well as 4 million naira with lorry loads of trucks were carted away in Ibadan. Further regret that these rights have either been abused or mismanaged by officers of the Nigerian services in the past. And this was evident again on Thursday, 13th May, when residents of Ishayin town were subjected to frightening sound of shooting between the officers of Nigerian Customs and persons alleged to be smugglers in an attempt to hijack a vehicle allegedly loaded with 40 bags of illegal smuggled rice. Further regret that this incident happened on the day meant to be a day of joy as Muslims across the world mark Eid al-Fitr, celebrating end of the Ramadan holy month in Islam. Tragic that this incident reportedly led to the death of 5 people who were hit by stray bullets from aforementioned indiscriminate shootout. 1. Ibrahim Majid. 2. Timothy Badegeshi. 3. Tobilola Okoyemi. 4. Abdullah Aziz. And 5. Unidentified man who was selling watermelon on the street. Worried that such action by men of Nigerian Customs exercise continue to threaten the collective freedom of the people of Ishayin, Ibadan, and Ogbomoso, and has contributed to the shrinking civil space of the community, as was evident in the reaction of youth who burned down an ILOS bus belonging to the Nigerian Customs. Senate do resolve that urge the Senate to hold a minute silence in honor of the slain victims who were caught in the crossfire of the event of Thursday, 13th May 2011. Urge the Senate to mandate the Senate Committee on Custom and Excise and Tariff and the police to jointly interface with the hierarchy of the Nigerian police force and the Nigerian Customs Service towards ensuring that the incident is thoroughly investigated and the wrongdoer brought to book. 3A. Urge the Senate to mandate the Senate Committee on Custom to interface with the hierarchy of the Nigerian Customs Service towards identifying the victim of the incident, organizing proper compensation to the family of the deceased and the injured. B. Urge the Senate to mandate the Senate Custom Senate Committee on Custom to interface with the top hierarchy of Nigerian Custom towards the reorientation of members of the service to restrain the use of firearms in the course of their official engagement in line with international best practice. Urge the Senate to mandate the Senate Committee on Custom to return all the money taken away from the shops that were illegally broken into in Ogbomoso and Ibadan, respectively. I so move, Mr. President.
Distinguished Senator Teslim Folarin.
Where's my glasses?
Thank you, Mr. President. My name remains Teslim Folarin, Oyo Central. Mr. President, I rise to strongly support this motion moved by my colleague, Senator Fatai Buhari. Mr. President, when the men of customs went to invade shops in Ibadan and Ogbomoso, it was clear that it was done without due process. Mr. President, what then shocked me was that the Senate, in its wisdom, invited them and suggested to them that they returned the goods and monies that were taken away illegally. Rather than comply, we were told to simply F off. Excuse my language, Mr. President. In the motion, as read by Senator Buhari, on Saturday, when people were supposed to be enjoying themselves, I mean, I was certainly enjoying myself in Ibadan. We had the sad news that the customs bear their fangs again in saying, killing 5 innocent people. Mr. President, to put this into perspective, we're saying 5 people died because of rice. 5 lives were lost because of rice, not because of terrorism. Mr. President, whilst not trying to justify smuggling, we need to look at the issue of demand and supply. Maybe that's for another day. We have some prominent rice farmers here in this chamber. My very good brother, Senator Alero, and I'm sure the Senate leader, are rice farmers. And the truth of the matter, if we must be honest with ourselves, is that the local suppliers cannot meet the local demand. And so what do we expect these people to do? Do we now expect them to resort to armed robbery? No. So, Mr. President, I think there's a need to review the methods in which the customs arrest people. I think it's wrong. It's wrong. We're under pressure at home. And you would recall, Mr. President, at the last caucus meeting, I raised this issue, that we're under pressure from our people in Oyo State that the customs are giving this government a bad name. On this note, I once again support this motion. Thank you.
Can we go to the press? Okay, Senator Kola Balogun.
Thank you, Mr. President. Kola Balogun, Oyo South. I rise to support this motion as ably moved by Senator Fatai Buhari. I have also been at the receiving end, just of recent, in Oyo South, particularly in Ibadan. There was a custom raid on 2 different international markets. Although this matter is now before the Public Petition, Ethics and Privileges Committee, and they're working on it. I'd just like to seize this opportunity to call our attention to the fact that the Senate and indeed the National Assembly must rise to this occasion to support the defenseless Nigerians who have been terrorized almost on a daily basis. It does not matter whether it's in Oyo State or Kano State or Adamawa State. What they do is pure abuse of the Custom Act. Because what they tell you is that we have the right to go into anywhere and to cut away any goods that we reasonably suspect are contraband. But then again, of course, you also discover that each time they embark on this kind of raid, there are procedural errors. So it's our duty to ensure that when those who are charged with responsibility of implementing an act or law of this nation, they do so in compliance with due process and respect for human rights and civil rights. These are the things that the custom are not doing these days. And in any case, I am sure with what is happening now, we may have to also look into that act again and, if possible, amend it. Mr. President, esteemed colleagues, again I rise to support this motion, and we have to call the men of customs to order, because it's our responsibility to do that. The other time, when we engage them, they think our duty is simply to make law. But are we to make laws for them to break? Of course, we let them know we not only make law, we also ensure, by virtue of our oversight function, to ensure that the laws that are made are also complied with by those who are implementing it. I so submit, Mr. President.
We'll go to the prayers. Prayer 1. Prayer 1. Urge the Senate to hold a minute silence in honor of the slain victims who were caught in the crossfire of the events of Thursday, 13th May 2021. Those in favor of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. Prayer 2. Urge the Senate to mandate the Senate Committee on Customs, Excise and Tariff and the Senate Committee on Police Affairs to jointly interface with the hierarchy of the Nigeria Police Force and Nigeria Customs Service towards ensuring that the incident is thoroughly investigated and any wrongdoers brought to book. Those involved with this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 3A. Urge the Senate to mandate the Senate Committee on Customs, Excise and Tariff to interface with the hierarchy of the Nigeria Customs Service towards identifying the victims of the incident and organizing proper compensation to the families of the deceased and the injured. B. Urge the Senate to mandate the Senate Committee on Customs, Excise and Tariff to interface with the top hierarchy of the Nigeria Customs Service towards the orientation of members of the service to restrain the use of firearms in the course of their official engagements in line with international best practices. And 3C. Urge the Senate to mandate the Senate Committee on Customs, Excise and Tariff to tell custom hierarchy to return all the money taken away, 1.2 million naira with 600 bags of rice taken from shops in Ogbomosho, and 4 million naira with trucks of rice from shops in Ibadan, respectively. Those in favor of prayer 3, A, B, C, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. 1 minute silence, please. May the souls of our departed compatriots rest in perfect peace. Amen. Leader of the Senate. Point of order, Senator Nicholas Tofomo. Point of order, Senator Nicholas Tofomo.
I'm putting a motion under section 42 and 52. Section 42 says that the matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting. And the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless it is satisfied that the matter is definitely an urgent. Then section 52. Notice shall not be dispensed with in the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceedings for which notice is required except for the consent of the President of the Senate and the grant assent of the Senate President. The matter I have is about rescue Ayetoro community in Ondo South for continuous ocean surge. I've moved the motion here before and we had 3 resolutions, but nothing has happened till then. Now Ayetoro is in a big mess. Even Channels Television has been showing it for the past 1 week, and it's very, very embarrassing. So I want a motion on it so that we can take it further from there.
Thank you very much. Because we have come under orders 42 and 52, we need the endorsement of at least 1/5 of our colleagues for you to proceed. Those in favor of the request of our colleague that we allow him to present his motion, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished, you may proceed.
Mr. Senate President, I'm Senator Nicholas Tufumo representing Ondo South. Mr. Senate President, distinguished colleagues, on the 25th day of November 2020, I moved a motion on Ayetoro community, Ondo State, for suffering a severe ocean disaster which has destroyed over 300 houses and swept away fishing tools, making Ayetoro floating city a disaster. 3 resolutions were made then, and they are as follows. We have to urge Niger Delta Development Corporation, NDDC, and Ondo State government to respond and assist victims in the community, as well as develop a master plan that will include building of ocean barrier to control flooding and ocean surge in the region. Number 2, to urge Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, visit Ayetoro, ascertain the level of destruction in the community with a view to prefer solution to prevent future occurrence. And number 3, to urge all producing companies to assist the community in rebuilding some of the infrastructure destroyed by the surge. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I am very angry and disturbed that Ayetoro floating city has been abandoned since November 2020, and none of the resolutions was executed. The question now is, who is going to assist the community? I'm now appealing to federal government to please come to Ayetoro's rescue by setting up a rescue committee that will include the Niger Delta Development Commission, Ondo State Government, Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, and the oil companies within the region. I only have one prayer. Accordingly, I want us to resolve on to urge federal government to set up a rescue committee that will include Niger Delta Development Corporation, NDDC, Ondo State Government, Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Consolidated Oil, Chevron Oil, and Cavendish Oil. I so submit. Thank you.
I need somebody to second the motion. Senator Gabriel Suswam.
Mr. President, I'm Dr. Gabriel Suswam. I move to second the motion as ably moved by my colleague, Senator Nicholas.
You can make any contribution, but it's okay. We go to the prayers. There is only one prayer here, that Senate accordingly resolves to urge the federal government to set up a rescue committee that will include Niger Delta Development Commission, the NDDC, Ondo State Government, Nigeria Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA, Consolidated Oil, Chevron Oil, and Cavendish Oil. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate, distinguished Senator Patrick Ifanyuba, point of order, right? Okay.
Mr. President, point of order, raising from order 42 and 52, Mr. President. Order 42, the matter for discussion shall, if possible, be referred to the President of the Senate before commencement of the day's sitting. And the President of the Senate shall refuse to allow the claim unless he is satisfied that the matter is definite and urgent. Order 52. Notice shall not be dispensed with in the case of a motion or in respect of any other proceedings for which notice is required, except with the consent of the President of the Senate and the general assent of the senators present. Mr. President, the synopsis of my presentation is on the need to review the NIN registration against our students, those who are seeking to register for JAMB, as they have made it a mandatory for them and the hardship they are going through. If you wish, Mr. President, I can proceed.
Thank you very much, distinguished Uba. Because you have come under orders 42 and 52, I will have to put the question, and we need at least 1/5 of our colleagues to endorse. Those in favor of his request that we allow him to present his motion, say aye. Those against, any other side. You may present your motion.
Thank you, Mr. President, and my distinguished colleagues. Mr. President, I'm Senator Ifeanyi Yoba, representing the good people of Anambra South. Mr. President, I'm constrained to call the attention of this hallowed chamber to the widespread hardship young, promising, and cerebral Nigerians are currently facing as a result of the decision of the Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAMB, to include the NIN, National Identification Number, as a precondition for registration of UTME candidates in 2021. Mr. President, this action is an inconsiderate and premature decision that has further complicated the already rigorous process of both registration for JAMB examination and procuring the NIN. It is pertinent to call the attention of this chamber to the fact that JAMB initially attempted to start implementation of this policy in 2020, but has to postpone it owing to technical problems and irregularities prevailing the process of obtaining name from the National Identity Management Company, NIMC. From all indication, Mr. President, these technical hinges are yet to be addressed. The long queue at NIMC centers are testimony to the fact that a well-organized process is yet to be put in place to ease the stressful process of the registration. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, available statistics indicate that in 2020, more than 2 million candidates registered for JAMB examinations. Presently, the introduction of NIN threatens to significantly lower the number of registered candidates in 2021 because majority of these candidates are just attaining the age when they can obtain the NIN. This is a brazen infringement on the right to education of young Nigerians who may not be able to meet the deadline to obtain their NIN and register for JAMB. Mr. President, you will agree with me on the fact that this idea, even though innovative in nature, should be suspended until the condition of obtaining NIN improves tremendously. The board, JAMB, already have enough logistic and technical problems to tackle. Adding more complications to is counterproductive and will only serve as a hindrance to young Nigerians desirous of getting into higher institutions to further their education. I am aware that they have extended 2 weeks, but Mr. President, 2 weeks that was extended will not be enough to ease the problem our young Nigerians are going through, our young students are going through. Conclusively, in view of the point raised, I wish to accordingly urge the Nigerian Senate to mandate the Ministry of Education to review the suffering our students are going through the registration of NIN for JAMB as a precondition to take JAMB's examination. And then also urge the Ministry of Education and NIMC to streamline a simple and decentralized NIN registration process where students will be able to obtain their NIN in their various accredited school premises. I so submit, Mr. President.
I need a seconder. Senator Uche Lilian Ekunefe Iyom.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Senator Uche Lilian Ekunefe Iyom. I represent Anambra Central from Anambra State. Mr. President, I rise to support this motion. Second the motion. Be moved my brother, Dr. Patrick Ifeanyi Yoba. Mr. President, in seconding this motion, I want to say that this is a very straightforward motion. It is apt and it has come when we need to show concern for what is happening on students presenting the number before they are registered for WAEC or GCE. Mr. President, remember that the whole of last year was taken over by COVID, and that restricted a lot of movement, and it made it impossible for many students to have access to a NIN number. Telling our students now they cannot register for WAEC and GCE because they don't have NIN number is actually very, very insensitive on the part of JAM and the NECO. Mr. President, I want to state very clearly that the registration of NIN has not been able to, the awareness has not been there. There is no public enlightenment. Many people don't even understand what NIN stands for, National Identification Number. The awareness has not been taken to the grassroots. The enlightenment has not been taken to schools. It has not been taken to universities and tertiary institutions. Therefore, many children and many students don't even know the need for them to have the NIN number. They don't even know that the NIN is a requirement for them to participate in NECO and GCE. So I think that this Senate is a responsible Senate, and we are representing the people they are trying to marginalize. It is on that note that I want to support this motion and to state clearly that schools should not make NIN as basis for participating in any examination. Therefore, I second this motion and I pray that the Senate supports it and allow it to pass. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, we go to the prayers. Prayer 1, mandate the Federal Minister of Education, JAM, and NIMC to review the implementation of this policy with a view to extending the JAM registration deadline or suspending this requirement until there is a seamless and well-organized process for obtaining the national identity number. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge the Federal Minister of Education and NIMC to introduce, streamline a simple and decentralized NIN registration process where students will be able to obtain their NIN in their various accredited school premises. Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the first business of the day is the presentation of our bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Gashon Bassi on the abduction and extraction of reward prohibition bill 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Abduction and Extraction of Reward Prohibition Bill 2021, SB 710, first reading.
Abduction and Extraction of Reward Prohibition Bill 2021, SB 710, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the second business of the day is the presentation of our bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Sirajuddin Basiru Ajibola on the National Road Maintenance Fund Establishment Bill 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, National Road Maintenance Fund Establishment Bill 2021, SB 719, first reading.
National Road Maintenance Fund Establishment Bill 2021, SB 719, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the third business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Yakubu Oseni on the Solid Minerals Development Bank Establishment Bill 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Solid Minerals Development Bank Establishment Bill 2021, SB 720, first reading.
Solid Minerals Development Bank Establishment Bill 2021 SB 720, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fourth business of the day is the presentation of our bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Mohammed Sani Musa on the Miscellaneous Offences Act, Cap M17, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, Amendment Bill 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of it.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Miscellaneous Offences Act, Cap M17, LFN 2004 Amendment Bill 2021, SB 721, first reading.
Miscellaneous Offences Act, Cap M17, LFN 2004 Amendment Bill, SB 721, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fifth business of the day is the presentation of a bill standing in the name of distinguished Senator Elisha Cliff Ishaku on the Maritime Operations Coordinating Board Act, CAP M4, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, Amendment Bill 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite the Clerk of the Senate to read the short title of the bill.
Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, Maritime Operations Coordinating Board Act, CAP M4, LFN 2004, Amendment Bill 2020, SB 722, first reading.
Maritime Operations Coordinating Board Act, Cap M4, LFN 2004 Amendment Bill 2021, SB 722, first reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the first order of the day is the presentation and consideration of the report of the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters on the screening of the following persons as listed in the order paper for appointment as chairman and members of the National Human Rights Commission. And they are as follows. Number 1, Dr. Salamat Hussein Suleiman, chairman. Mr. Mamel Joseph Onyemechi, member. Ahmed Abubakar Fengilla, Esquire, member. Mr. Kemi Okenyodo Asiwaju, member. Abubakar Muhammad, member. Okeyo Olufemi Adeniran, member. Mr. Sunday Etim Daniel, member. Jediani Agbedu Chukwemeka, member. Nella Andem Rabana San, member. Azubike Emmanuel Nwankenta, member. Jamila Isa Esquire, member. And Idayat Omolora Hassan, member. The two good senators will recall that the request of Mr. President Commander-in-Chief was referred to the committee on Wednesday, 24th March 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Michael Opeyemi Bamidele, chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the presentation and consideration of the report.
Distinguished Senator Michael Opeyemi Bamidele.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm Michael Opeyemi Bamidele. I represent the Ekiti Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I rise to move that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters on the confirmation of the nominations for appointment as chairman and members of the National Human Rights Commission of the following: Dr. Salamatu Husseini Sulaiman, chairman; Mamel Joseph Onyemechi, member; Ahmad Abubakar Fingila Esquire, member; Kemi Okenyodo Asiwaju, member; Abubakar Mohammed, member; Okewo Olufemi Adeniran, member; Mr. Sunday Etim Daniel, member; Gideani Agbaidu Chukwuemeka, member; Nella Andem Rabana, SAN, member. Azubuike Emmanuel Nwan Keita, member. Jamila Isa Esquire, member. And Idayat Omolara Hassan, member. Mr. President, I so move.
I need a seconder. Senator Moses Cleopas.
Thank you, Mr. President, and my highly distinguished colleagues. My name is distinguished Senator Cleopas Moses, and I represent the very blessed people of Bayelsa Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, I rise to second the motion as being moved by Senator Okpayemi that this Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters on the confirmation of the nominations for appointment as chairman and members of the National Human Rights Commission. I so second, sir.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do receive and consider the report of our Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Chairman, you may lead the report, please. You may present the report.
Distinguished Chairman, distinguished President, Your Excellency, and distinguished colleagues. Report of the Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters on the confirmation of nominations of the chairman and members of the National Human Rights Commission. Mr. President, may I, at the onset, draw the attention of distinguished members to the last page of this report, being the signature page. And in doing that, I am to inform that in addition to those who had signed the report as of the time copies were produced, 6 additional members had signed the copy that was laid and which is being presented. Senator James Manager, Senator Ike Ekuremadu, Senator Aishatu Ahmed Dahiru, Senator Peter O. Nwaboshi, Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja, and Senator Ifeanyi Uba have all signed in addition to those who had signed before. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the Senate at its plenary sitting on Wednesday, 24th March 2021, considered Mr. President's request for the confirmation of nominations of the chairman and members of the National Human Rights Commission and referred same to the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters for further legislative action. The appointments were made pursuant to Section 3(2) and Subsection 2 and 3 of the National Human Rights Commission Amendment Act 2010, with particular reference to Subsection 3. Section 3, paragraphs A and B, which provides thus: the chairperson and members of the council shall each be persons of proven integrity and appointed by the President, subject to the confirmation by the Senate. It is in line with the aforementioned provision that Mr. President nominated the nominees for appointment as chairman and members of the National Human Rights Commission with requisite experience in human rights issues subject to confirmation of such appointments by the Senate. For the purpose of emphasis, the nominees, Mr. President, are Salamatu Husseini Sulaiman, Chairman, Mrs. Beatrice Jedi Agba Menai, Member, Ambassador Umar Zainab Salisu, Member, Mrs. Dafe T. Adeshida, Member, Joseph Oyemechi Mamel, Member, Ahmad Abubakar Fingila, Member, Kemi Ashiwaju Okeyodo, Member, Abubakar Mohammed, Member, Femi Okewo, Member, Sonny Daniel, Member, Barrister Agbaidu Chukwuemeka Gideon, Member, Mrs. Nella Andem Rabana, SAN, Member, Azubuike Nwang Kwenta, Member, Jamila Isa, Member, Mrs. Idayat Omolara Hassan, Member, and Mr. Anthony Ojuku, Member. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, because of our time, I'm going to abridge this presentation. I refer you to please come with me Please come with me to page 10. Page 10. Interactions with the nominees. The committee, in the course of its interactive sessions with the nominees, was briefed about the suitability and competence of each of the nominees for confirmation as chairman and members of the National Human Rights Commission, respectively. In their briefings, the nominees, individually and collectively, demonstrated sufficient knowledge of the law, issues bordering on human rights, as well as contemporary issues. They also outlined their vision for the Commission to ensure that the mandate is carried out without interference as an independent body. Our observations and findings. The committee, having screened the nominees and as well considered all the necessary requirements for appointments of this magnitude, do hereby outline the following as our observations and findings. 1, that the substantive executive secretary of the Commission, who is also a member of the Governing Council, by the virtue of his position as the executive secretary, having been screened hitherto by the Senate for the present position, was not screened by the committee along with the other nominees forwarded to the Senate for confirmation. 2, that the representatives of the Federal Ministry of Justice, Foreign Affairs and Interior, i.e. Mrs. Beatrice Jedi Agba MNI, Ambassador Umar Zainab Salisu, and Mrs. Dafeti Adeshida are ex-official members who do not require confirmation by the Senate because they don't have voting powers on the Council of the Commission. And 3, that in line with the enabling law and the Paris Principles, which sets international standards for human rights functions, the appointment of members of the Council or Board of the National Human Rights Institution should be open, transparent, and consultative in nature in order to ensure the independence of the institution. That the appointments of the nominees satisfy the requirements of Section 3, subsections 2 and 3 of the National Human Rights Commission Amendment Act 2010 and the Senate Standing Orders 2015 as amended. 5, that the nominees possess the requisite qualifications, competence, and comportment to discharge the duties and functions of the Governing Council of the Commission. 6, that there is no petition against the nomination of any of the nominees before the committee. Our general observations. In view of the issues raised in the course of the screening exercise, it is imperative for the committee to give an insight on the nature of the appointment generally. In this regard, we hereby highlight our general observations as follows. 1, that in the course of carrying out the assignment, the committee was guided by the provision of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. 2, that Section 14.3 of the Constitution requires that the composition of the government of the Federation or any of its agencies should reflect the federal character principles. Furthermore, Section 3.2 and Sub 3 of the National Human Rights Amendment Act provides for the composition of the Council to consist of the chairman and members of the Commission who shall represent various interest segments of the human rights community. However, it is noteworthy to state that the composition of the Governing Council of the National Human Rights Commission, as presented to the 9th Senate, does not comply with the provisions of the Constitution as it relates to the federal character principles. For the avoidance of doubt, the composition of the Council, as per geopolitical zone, as presented to the Senate, is as follows. Northeast, number of nominees, 0. State of origin, 0. Northwest, 3 nominees, including the chairman. State of origin, Kebbi. North Central, 2 nominees. State of origin, Kwara, Kogi. Southeast, 4 nominees, including the executive secretary. State of origin, Imo, Enugu, Anambra, Imo. South-South, 2 nominees. State of origin, Akwa Ibom, Cross River. Southwest, 2 nominees. State of origin, Ogun and Lagos. That it is imperative to state that absolute compliance with the provisions of the Constitution is not a choice, but a fundamental obligation imposed on individuals, government, and all its functionaries, as encapsulated in Section 13 of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That human rights issues do not only affect a segment, but cut across all parts of the country. 5, that the Senate does draw the attention of Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federation to the lopsidedness in the composition of the Governing Council of the National Human Rights Commission, which is an infraction against the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 as amended. 6, that the Senate and indeed the National Assembly do not only make law, but also ensure that the laws are complied with through the mechanisms of checks and balances. Therefore, it is our duty to draw the attention of the executive, who is saddled with the responsibilities of making nominations for appointments into any position in the country, to ensure compliance with the federal character principle in line with the Constitution. Our general remarks. I wish to humbly implore the President of the Senate and indeed my distinguished colleagues to approve the recommendation of this committee on this screening exercise in the national interest. This request is predicated on the fact that due to non-compliance of the government to constitute the Governing Council of the Commission for about 3 years now, the Grade A status conferred on Nigeria by the United Nations General Assembly on Human Rights has been under threat. As such, it is incumbent on us as responsive legislature to ensure that Nigeria is not downgraded after striving assiduously to attain this current status a few years ago. Accordingly, I hereby request the Senate to dispassionately and magnanimously consider and approve this report. Our recommendation: the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters, having screened and after a careful scrutiny of the curriculum vitae and other accompanying documents of the nominees and being satisfied about their exposure, experience in human rights issues, performance, qualifications, and competence, hereby recommend that the Senate do confirm the nominations of Dr. Salamatu Hussaini Sulaiman, Joseph Onyamechi Mamel, Ahmad Abubakar Finjila, Kemi Ashiwaju Okenyodo, Abubakar Muhammad, Femi Okewu, Sunday Etim Daniel, Barrister Agbaidu Chukwuemeka Jideani, Mrs. Nela Andem Rabana SAN, Azubuike Nwankwenta, Jamila Isa, and Mrs. Idayat Omolara Hassan as chairman and members of the National Human Rights Commission, respectively. I so submit, Mr. President.
Any comments? Senator Barrow, Jibril.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Barao Jibrin. I represent Kano North. Mr. President, permit me to commend the Senate Committee on Judiciary, Human Rights, and Legal Matters for a job well done in respect of the screening of these nominees. That said, Mr. President, when one looks at the resume of each of these nominees, one will see that all of them are qualified to hold the saddle of the position that each of them is nominated for. Having said so, Mr. President, I want to urge my colleagues without much ado to give their approval for the confirmation of these nominees. Mr. President, I also submit.
Leader of the Senate, Committee of the Whole.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move a motion for this Senate to resolve into the Committee of the Whole in order to consider this report. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate resolves into Committee of the Whole to consider the report, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, we'll do approval at this point. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Dr. Salamat Hussein Suleiman, FIMC, as Chairman of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Mamel Joseph Onyemechi as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Ahmad Abubakar Fingilla Esquire as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Kemi Okenyodo Ashiwaju as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Abubakar Muhammad as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Okeo Olufemi Adeniran as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Mr. Sunday Etim Daniel as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Jidiani Agbaidu Chukwu Emeka as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Nella Andem Rabana SAN as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Azubike Emmanuel Nwankenta as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Jamila Isa Esquire as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Chief Whip, the distinguished Gabriel Suswam, Senator Gabriel Suswam, Senator Gabriel Suswam, you should stop disturbing Senator Rocha Sokoracha, please. Will the Senate approve the nomination of Idayat Omolara Hassan as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I rise to move a motion for this distinguished chamber to resume plenary for the chair to report progress. So move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate reverse to plenary for the chair to report progress, say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. The Senate and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on the Judiciary, Human Rights and Legal Matters on the screening of Mr. President's nominees for appointment as chairman and members of the National Human Rights Commission, and approved the nominations of Dr. Salamatu Hussaini Suleiman, chairman, Mamel Joseph Onyemechi, member, Ahmad Abubakar Fingila, Esquire, member, Kemi Okenyodo Ashwaju, member, Abubakar Mohammed, member, Okewo Olufemi Adenirong, member, Sunday Etim Daniel, member, Jidani Agabaidu Chukwuemeka, member, Nella Andem Rabana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, member, Azubike Emmanuel Nwankenta, member, Jamila Isa Esquire, member, Idayat Omolora Hassan, member, as chairman and members of the National Human Rights Commission. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Confirmation. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Dr. Salamatu Hussaini Suleiman, FIMC, as chairman of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Dr. Salamatu Hussaini Suleiman, FIMC, is hereby confirmed as chairman of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Mamel Joseph Onyemechi as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The confirmation of Mamel Joseph Onyemechi is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Ahmad Abubakar Fingila, Esquire, as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Ahmad Abubakar Fingila, Esquire, is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Okewo Olufemi Adenirong as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Okewo Olufemi Adenirong is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Mr. Sunday Etim Daniel as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Mr. Sunday Etim Daniel is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Jidani Agbaidu Chukwuemeka as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Jidiani Agbaidu Chukwuemeka is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Nella Andem Rabana SAN as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Nella Andem Rabana is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Azubike Emmanuel Nwankenta as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Azubike Emmanuel Nwankenta is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Jamila Isa Esquire as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Jamila Isa Esquire is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Will the Senate confirm the nomination of Idayat Omolara Hassan as a member of the National Human Rights Commission? Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The nomination of Idayat Omolara Hassan is hereby confirmed as a member of the National Human Rights Commission. Well, congratulations to all of them, and let me join our colleagues who commended the committee on this for performing this very important role. And the committee has raised some observations, and I want to reiterate here that the executive should take very serious note of the observations raised in the area of ensuring that there is compliance with the constitutional provisions for appointments like this. Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the second order of the day is the consideration of the report of the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary on the Federal Medical Centers Establishment Bill 2021. Distinguished senators will recall that the bill was laid on the floor of this Senate sometime last week. I therefore wish to urge Mr. President to invite distinguished Senator Yahaya Ibrahim Oloregbe, Chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the consideration of the report. I so move.
Distinguished Senator Yahaya Ibrahim Oloregbe.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Ibrahim Yahaya Oloriegbe. I represent Kwara Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, I rise to move that the Senate do consider the report of the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary on the Federal Medical Center Establishment Bill 2021, SB 636. I so move, Mr. President.
Seconder, distinguished Senator Chimoroke Nnamani.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President. My name is Chimoroke Nnamani. I represent Enugu East Senatorial Zone. I rise to second the motion, heavily moved by Senator Oloriegbe, that the Senate do receive and consider the report of the Committee on Health on the Federal Medical Center, Bill 2021. I so support. Second. Thank you.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do consider the report of our Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Mr. Chairman, you present the report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, with your permission, I will just present highlights of the report so that but the full report has been circulated. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the Senate, at its sitting on the Thursday, 18th February 2021, read for the second time the bill for an act to provide for the legal framework for the establishment of federal medical centers and for other related matters, SB 636 bill, and refers same to the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary for further executive action. The committee conducted public hearing on Monday, the 29th day of March 2021, in order to get the views and opinions of stakeholders and the general public on the bill. Mr. President, the bill seeks to, among others, provide an enabling law to regulate the development and management of the federal medical centers with the aim of setting standards for rendering intensive, effective, and efficient healthcare services to the generality of Nigerians. The bill, when passed, will provide an enabling environment that will facilitate the provision of general policies
and guidelines relating to major expansion program of the medical centers. Apart from providing advanced equipment and facilities for diagnosis and medical treatment, the federal medical centers, as they are now and as they will be in future, will serve as training schools and institutions for advanced healthcare services. They will also provide laboratories, research, and experimental stations necessary for efficient national healthcare delivery. Recommendation, that's the last page. After clause-by-clause consideration of the bill, which is made up of 5 parts comprising of 28 clauses, a long title, a short title, and an explanatory memorandum, the committee recommends as follows. 1. Propose amendment to the following clauses: the short title, the long title, clause 3, 1K to N, clauses 14, 21, 22, 24, 25, 28, and the schedule. The committee inserted a new clause of explanatory memorandum and retained other clauses, which are clauses 3 to 20, clauses 22, 1A to C, 22, 2 to 4, 6 and 7, 23, 26, and 27. In conclusion, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the committee thanks the Senate President, the entire Senate leadership, and all distinguished colleagues for the opportunity given to us to serve in this capacity. I so submit, Mr. President. I so submit, Mr. President, sir.
Thank you. Any comments? Leader of the Senate Committee of the Whole.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move a motion for this distinguished chamber to resolve in the Committee of the Whole to consider this report. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do resolve to come into the Committee of the Whole to consider the report clause by clause, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, this bill has 28 clauses. And almost all of them have been retained. So I'll be a little bit fast. Those in favor that clauses 1 and 2 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 3 and 4 those in favor that clauses 3 and 4 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 5 and 6. Those in favor that clauses 5 and 6 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 7 and 8. Clauses 7 and 8. Those in favor that clauses 7 and 8 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 9 and 10. Those in favor that clauses 9 and 10 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 11 and 12. Clauses 11 and 12. Those in favor that clauses 11 and 12 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 13 and 14. Those in favor that clauses 13 and 14 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 15 and 16. Those in favor that clauses 15 and 16 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 17 and 18. Those in favor that clauses 17 and 18 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 19 and 20. Those in favor that clauses 19 and 20 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 21 and 22. Those in favor that clauses 21 and 22 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 23 and 24. Those in favor that clauses 23 and 24 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 25 and 26. Those in favor that clauses 25 and 26 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 27 and 28. Those in favor that clauses 27. No, those in favor that clause 27 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the interpretation stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the short title stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the schedules stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the explanatory memorandum stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the long title on page 1 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I rise to raise a motion for this chamber to revert to plenary to consider for the chairman to report progress. I so move.
President, I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate reverts to plenary for the chair to report progress, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Health on the Federal Medical Centers Establishment Bill 2021 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended. Clauses 1 to 26 as recommended. Interpretation as recommended. Short title as recommended. Schedules 1 to 2 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
I rise to move a motion that the Federal Medical Centers Establishment Bill 2021 be read the third time. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that this bill be now read the third time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to provide for the legal framework to establish a Federal Medical Center and for related matters 2021 SB 118, third reading.
A bill for an act to provide for the legal framework to establish the Federal Medical Centers and for related matters 2021, third reading taken, and the bill is passed. Congratulations. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the third order of the day is the consideration of the report of the Committee on Health, that is secondary and tertiary, on the National Dermatology Specialist Hospital, Garkida, Adamawa State Establishment Bill 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to recall, the distinguished senator will recall that the report of the committee was laid in this distinguished chamber on 5th May 2021. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Ibrahim Yahya Oloregbe, chairman of the committee, to move the motion for the consideration of the report.
Distinguished Chairman, Senator Ibrahim Yahya Oloregbe.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. My name is Ibrahim Yahya Oloregbe. I represent Kwara Central Senatorial District. Mr. President, I rise to move that the Senate do consider the report of the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary on the National Dermatology Specialist Hospital, Garkida, Adamawa State, Establishment Bill 2021, SB 631. I so move, Mr. President.
Senator Professor Nora Ladi Dadut.
Thank you, Mr. President. I am Senator Nora Ladi Dadut, representing Plateau South. Mr. President, distinguished members, I rise to support and to second motion moved by my colleague, Senator Yahya Ibrahim Oloregbe, on the act to establish the special national, the bill on the establishment of federal medical centers. I do second, Mr. President.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate considers the report of our Committee on Health, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Chairman, you may present the report.
Thank you, Mr. President. With your permission, I will read just the highlight of the report. The Senate of the, at its sitting on 3rd day of March 2021, read for the second time the bill for an act to establish the National Biological Hospital Center 2021, SB 631, and refers same to the Committee on Health, Secondary and Tertiary for further legislative action. The committee conducted public hearing on Monday, the 29th day of March 2021, in order to get the views and opinions of stakeholders and the general public. This bill seeks to, among others, establish a national dermatological hospital in Garkida, Adamawa State. When passed into law, the hospital will provide diagnostic, curative, promotive, rehabilitative dermatological services and training of dermatological personnel at all levels. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, after a clause-by-clause consideration of the bill, which is made up of 23 clauses, the committee recommends as follows. Propose amendment to clauses, to the long title, to clauses 1, 2A to F, clauses 3, clause 4, 6, 12, and 23. Inserted a clause on explanatory memorandum, retain clauses 2, subsection 1, 4, sub 1, 3, and 5, clause 5, clause 7 to 9, and clauses 13 to 20. Deleted clauses 10, 11, and 12 from the proposed bill, and renumber the other clauses appropriately. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, the committee thanks Mr. Senate President, the Deputy Senate President, and the entire Senate leadership, and all distinguished colleagues for the opportunity given to us to serve in this capacity. I so submit, Mr. President. Thank you, sir.
Any comments? Leader of the Senate, Committee of the Whole.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move a motion for this distinguished chamber to resolve into the committees of the whole to consider this report. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate resolves into Committee of the Whole to consider the report clause by clause, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, because I can see some amendments, I'll go clause by clause. Those in favor that clause 1 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Okay, Senator Chimaroke Innamani.
Specialized national is tautology. There is no need to say specialized. It should be just National Dermatology Hospital. You don't need to add the word specialized there.
This is not clause 1. When we come to the long title, then you can raise the observation. At the moment, we are considering clause 1. Sorry? Okay, yeah. Yeah. You agreed with him, Chairman. So we should amend. We delete specialize. But we have to put it to vote now. Those in favor that clause 1 as amended stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. We amended clause 1 sub 1, isn't it? Then clause 2, those in favor that clause 2 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clause 3 and 4. Those in favor that clauses 3 and 4 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. But I think it should be mutatis mutandis. It should be mutatis mutandis. Senator Pemi, am I right? So wherever specialized appears, we remove the specialized, as we did in clause 1, so that we say ourselves, all right. Yeah, including the title and also in clause 4. Yes. So those in favor that clauses 5 and 6 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. So, Secretary, you should take note of this. Wherever specialized national dermatological blah blah appears, you remove the specialized. Clauses 7 and 8. Those in favor of clauses 7 and 8 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 9 and 10. Actually, 10, let me say that those in favor that clause 9 stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 10, 11, 12 are all deleted. So those in favor that those 3 clauses stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17, all retained. Those in favor that those clauses stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Clauses 18, 19, and 20. Those in favor that those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clauses 21, 22, and 23. Those in favor that those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the interpretation stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the short title stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the schedule stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the explanatory memorandum stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the long title stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move a motion for this chamber to resume plenary for the chair to report progress. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate reverse to plenary for the chair to report progress, say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. The Senate and the Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Health on the National Dermatology Specialist Hospital, Garkida, Adamawa State Establishment Bill 2021, and approved as follows. Long title as amended, Clause 1 as amended, Clauses 2 to 21 as recommended. Interpretation as recommended, short title as amended, schedule as recommended, explanatory memorandum as amended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, I rise to move another motion for National Dermatology Hospital, Garkida, Adamawa State Establishment Bill 2021 to be read the third time. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the bill be now read the third time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act establishes a specialized National Dermatology Hospital at Garkida for the prevention, diagnostic, curative, promotive, rehabilitative, cosmetic, allergy of all conditions and disease affecting the skin and for other matters connected therewith 2021 SB 393, third reading.
A bill for an act to establish the National Dermatology Hospital at Garkida for the prevention, diagnostic, curative, promotive, rehabilitative, cosmetic, allergy of all conditions and disease affecting the skin and for other matters connected there with 2021 third reading taken, and the bill is passed. Congratulations, Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, with your permission, I would like to shift an order to move the second motion, that is the fifth order to the fourth order of the day, by taking on the motion standing in the name of distinguished Senator Ode Stephen Addy on the urgent need for the construction of federal roads linking communities and local government areas in Cross Rivers North Secretarial District to other communities and local government areas in Benue and Ebonyi states. Mr. President, may we invite distinguished Senator Stephen Addy to move this motion.
Distinguished Senator Stephen Adiode.
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished colleagues, my name is Distinguished Senator Stephen Adiode. I represent the good people of Cross River North. Mr. President, my motion is on the urgent need for the construction of federal roads linking communities and local government areas in Cross River North Senatorial District to other communities and local government areas in Benue and Ebonyi states of Nigeria. Mr. President, can I proceed?
Yeah, you may proceed.
The Senate, taking cognizance of the fact that Ugoja is the only province in the country which failed to achieve the status of a state, and the extreme poverty of its people and untapped natural resources, despite the yearly contribution of the agrarian rural dwellers to the agricultural and economic needs of the nation from the expansive cultivated areas of land. The Senate is reminded of the federal government's determination of curbing rural-urban migration in order to decongest our cities by making the rural communities habitable through provision of basic amenities to rural dwellers. Senate should note that in order to tackle the developmental challenges of the people of the Niger Delta region, which Cross River North Senatorial District forms part of, the Niger Delta Development Commission and the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs were established and created by the federal government of Nigeria to execute this mandate. Furthermore, the Senate should note that Cross River North Senatorial District shares vast boundaries with several local government areas and communities in Ebonyi and Benue states of Nigeria. Senate should also note that these communities and local government areas of Cross River North Senatorial District, as well as those of Ebonyi and Benue states, are linked through long stretch roads without noticeable demarcations. Concerned that these agrarian communities and local government areas of Cross River North Senatorial District, as well as those of Ebonyi and Benue states, undergo unimaginable hardship and difficulties in evacuating the agricultural produce to the markets in Ebonyi and Benue states of Nigeria, owing to bad roads and impassable roads, worsened by recurrent flooding and other ecological challenges. Aware that these roads to wit, 1, Okuku, Ichumoga, Alifopa, Yache, Benue border community roads. 2, Yahe, Ebo, Wanakom, Wanikade, Wanihem, Benue border community road. 3, Okuku, Imaje, Abochiche, Akpakpa, Gakim road represent long stretches identified and verified as covering Cross River North Senatorial District of Cross River State, Ebonyi and Benue states of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Further aware that the federal government of Nigeria, as well as the state government of Cross River, Ebonyi and Benue, are commendably committed to the food sufficiency policy designed and promoted through agriculture. Worried that the level of disrepair and dilapidation in the listed federal routes contradicts the celebrated commitment of the various governments, especially the federal government of Nigeria, to the food sufficiency policy as massive agricultural produce by the farmers across the communities and local governments of Cross River North Senatorial District, Ebonyi, and Benue states of Nigeria are wasted, as farmers cannot conveniently and promptly evacuate them to the nearest or available markets. Concern about the enormity of losses incurred by farmers across the border communities, especially in Cross River North Senatorial District, as well as losses by various levels of government in not impacting on the economy. Further concerned that with the present level of insecurity in our forests and rural settlements, which no less a personality than the immediate past Chief of Army Staff has before the present Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs, partly attributed to the inaccessibility of our rural settlements, by security agencies owing to the deplorable state of our rural roads as a result of the failure of successive government of Nigeria to invest in the construction of roads to link up rural areas with towns and cities. Accordingly resolved to 1. Mandate the Federal Ministry of Works to undertake the design of these designated federal roads for construction. 2. Mandate the Federal Ministry of Works to prioritize these designated federal roads for emergency attention pending the submission of the 2022 appropriation bill. 3. Mandate the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs and the Niger Delta Development Commission to design and prioritize the sections of the roads within the Cross River North Senatorial District for emergency works or full construction. And 4. Mandate the Federal Ministry of Environment through the Ecological Fund Office to, as emergency measure, handle the flooding challenges on the designated federal roads. I so move, Mr. President.
Senator Geshamba.
Thank you, Mr. President. Geshambasi, Cross River South. Mr. President, I rise to support and second the motion moved by the senator representing Cross River North in this chamber. I think his motion is extremely comprehensive and captures all the issues that make a very solid case for constructing of more federal roads in Cross River North. The ones that are there are in a bad state and need to be completely rehabilitated. But I think even more roads need to be constructed because Cross River North is home to significant food basket for this country. There are a lot of, whether it is rice or other crops, they are grown in significant quantity in Cross River North. And therefore, there's a need to evacuate a lot of this food for the rest of our country. Of course, also Cross River State is the home of significant tourism reserves of our country, including the Obudu Cattle Ranch. And that is one of the significant reasons why, even in the rail project that is currently ongoing in the transportation industry, Obudu is captured in that rail project. However, that project has not taken off, and therefore there's a need to have access to some of these significant tourism sites. Also, just as the rest of Cross River North is a boundary senatorial district. It borders with Cameroon, and of course we know the opening up of that region, of the entire West African sub-region. So there's a need. There have been some interventions by the ADB in that area, but I think that those interventions need to be expanded. So I wholeheartedly support the senator representing Senator Stephen Ode in this motion, and I pray that the rest of this chamber will support it so that it goes through. I so support.
Any more contributions? Yeah, distinguished Senator Uche Lilian Ekwinife.
Mr. President, my colleagues, my name is Senator Uche Lilian Ekwinife. I come from Anambra State. Mr. President, this motion concerns every one of us. I'm not going to speak about Cross River North alone. I have to also speak about the roads in Anambra State and most of the roads in Nigeria. Mr. President, the importance of road network can never be overemphasized. What we have in Nigeria today we call roads are makeshift. They are not roads. We are about to enter into rainy season. To what extent can the current road network in Nigeria sustain the heavy rainfall we are going to experience in the next few months? From Enugu alone to Anambra State, This is a journey that will take you at least 40 minutes, but it will take you 3 hours because of the bad road network. From Lokoja to Enugu State, it is also a journey that can take you ordinarily for 1.5 hours, but you spend not less than 5 hours on that road because of bad road network. From Owerri to Port Harcourt is a journey that will take you 25 minutes, but you're going to spend not less than 2 hours on that road because of bad road network. Mr. President, we have the power of appropriation. It is our constitutional authority to appropriate money for development of infrastructure in Nigeria. We have to take road network as a priority, where the chunk of our budget should go to. It's not just budgeting, it is also releasing money for these infrastructures to be in place. I want to commend the mover of this motion and also commend the governor of Cross River State, because I have seen the developmental trend in Cross River State, from manufacturing to industrialization to farming to schools. He cannot have all these legacy projects without having a very good road network in order to complete the process. So this motion has come when every one of us in our different senatorial districts need this parliament to ensure we have enough budgetary provision for not just maintenance, but reconstruction of our network of roads in Nigeria. And also to move a step further to ensure that the Ministry of Finance releases money for the construction of all these roads. So I want to support it, Mr. President, but also add that this should extend to major road networks connecting states in this country. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Senator Nicholas Tofuomo.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President. I want to join my voice with the two speakers. Unfortunately, we've not mentioned House Committee on Works. They have a big responsibility to play, but this member has oversighted House Committee on Works. We've mentioned 3 states here: Benue State, Ebonyi State, and Cross River State. And we are talking of agriculture. I will suggest House Committee on Works should go for oversight properly and move round. Because the problem in these 3 states is not only peculiar to these 3 states, it's all over the country. Like my senatorial district, on those South Senatorial District, we've not seen any new federal road in the last 20 years. We are just thrown into darkness there. So bad roads are all over the country. I know federal government is trying, but the trial is not enough. Our House Committee on Works should wake up. Our Senate Committee on Works should wake up and move around so that they can also make recommendations. So when we are preparing for the next year budget, it will have a meaning so that we won't be complaining here every time. Because in the last 2 years, one way or the other, people are complaining about roads. We need to put our roads together. So I support this motion. Thank you.
We'll go to the prayers. Prayer 1. Urge the Federal Ministry of Works to undertake the design of these designated federal roads for construction. Those in favor of prayer 1 say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Prayer 2, urge the Federal Minister of Works to prioritize these designated federal roads for emergency attention pending the submission of the 2022 appropriation bill. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against any, the ayes have it. Prayer 3, urge the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs and Niger Delta Development Commission to design and prioritize sections of the roads within the Cross River North Senatorial District for emergency works or full construction. Those in favor of prayer 3 say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. And prayer 4, urge the Federal Minister of Environment through the Ecological Fund to, as emergency, address the flooding challenges on the designated federal roads. Those in favor of this prayer say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the fifth order of the day is a motion standing in the name of distinguished Senator Robert Ajayi Borofis on the urgent call for a stop to the communal crisis between Oka, Akoka, and Supari communities in Ondo North Territorial District, and the need for National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to provide relief materials to displaced persons. Mr. President, you may wish to invite distinguished Senator Robert Ajayi Borofis to move the motion.
The Deputy Leader of the Senate.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President and my distinguished colleagues, my name is Robert Ajayi Borofis, representing Ondo North Senatorial District. I stand to move the motion on urgent call for a stop in the communal crisis between Oka, Akoko, and Supari community in Ondo North Senatorial District, and the need for National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to provide relief materials to displaced persons. The Senate, aware that under the Land Use Act 1976, enacted by the Nigerian Assembly, land is held by government in trust for the people. Note that the Akokos are a predominantly agrarian community, and they depend largely on communal land as a veritable tool to ply their trade, as farmers and farming represent the biggest contribution to food supply chain in Ondo North Senatorial District. Further observes that in most rural areas in Nigeria, land is still largely under the control of the communities and their heads, and as such, most communal land allocation are documented, leading to unresolvable disputes between communities, land owners, and the farming communities. Concerned that these disputes usually degenerate to fatal communal clashes with wanton destruction and loss of properties and lives. Note that Okakoko and Supari communities are in the same local government, Akoko South-West local government, and both communities share history of peaceful coexistence. However, communal disputes occurred between Supari and Okakoko, with attendant destruction of properties and loss of lives, sometimes in the year 2020, when farmers from Oka and surrounding areas working on farmlands located in Supari community saw people surveying life within the confines of their farmland. Observed that on 27 December 2020, 2 white men and 5 others came to the farm settlement with bulldozers in an attempt to open up the farming area populated by the Oka people. The people immediately reported the matter at Supari police station. The police intervened and stopped the planned unlawful and forceful takeover of the farmland. Concerned that on February 15, 2021, some indigents of Supari community descended heavily on Oka, Akumba, Ikare, and the Ekpemi people living and farming in Supari and visited them with violence, whereupon several people were wounded with dangerous weapons, farms were set ablaze, houses and vehicles were destroyed in the process. Note that after the destruction, farmers were displaced without access to their homes, farms, and livelihoods. Senate notes is aware that traditional rulers, community leaders, and political leaders have launched peace-building initiatives to douse tension in the affected areas. Senate also notes that Ondo State government has set up a fact-finding committee to unearth the immediate and remote causes of the communal clashes in order to settle the communal dispute. And finally, Senate is concerned that even though the Ondo State government is making necessary efforts to settle the dispute, a lot of sufferings and homelessness still prevail in the area. Accordingly, Senate resolves to the following. 1. Condemns in strongest terms the various attacks that have resulted in destruction of farm, settlements, and properties. 2. Directs the National Emergency Management Agency to provide adequate relief materials to all displaced victims of the communities involved in the communal crisis in Akoko, Southwest Local Government of Ondo State. And 3, urge the Nigerian police and other security agencies to maintain peace and put in place appropriate measures to forestall more crises. Thank you, Mr. President.
The Chief of the Federation.
Thank you, Mr. President. My name is Oji. I represent Abia North. In supporting the motion moved by Senator Boniface, I would like to urge further the Senate, to be able to remain steadfast in supporting NEMA in providing more additional money in the coming budgets, because NEMA have a lot to do with these displaced people all over Nigeria, not only in this area, so that they can be able to do their work. So I stand to support Professor Boniface in this motion. Thank you very much.
Senator Nicholas Tofomo.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President. I'm from Ondo State, so I should be able to say one or two things. Let me first of all thank the Ashiwaju of Akoko Empire, our Deputy Senate Leader, Professor Boniface, for suggesting this. Ondo State government should put more effort into resolving this crisis. Setting up little committees doesn't solve the problem. What should have been appropriate is to set up a judicial panel inquiry, let them look into it properly, and make recommendations to the governor, and the governor should be able to look at these recommendations and implement. If that is put in place, I'm sure there will be peace, because Akoko people are peace-loving people. So we need a judicial panel of inquiry to put things in place. Thank you.
Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, we go to the prayers. Prayer 1, condemn in strongest terms the various attacks that have resulted in destruction of farm settlements and properties. Those in favor of prayer 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Prayer 2, direct the National Emergency Management Agency to provide adequate relief materials to all displaced victims of the communities involved in communal crisis in Akoka Southwest Local Government of Ondo State. Those in favor of prayer 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. And prayer 3, urge the Nigeria Police and other security agencies to maintain peace and put in place appropriate measures to forestall more crises. Those in favor say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Thank you very much. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, the 6th to 9th order of the day are House bills for concurrence as listed on the order paper. Distinguished senators, we recall that these bills were read the first time in this chamber on Thursday, 20th October 2020, Wednesday, 28th April 2021, Tuesday, 23rd March 2021, and Tuesday, 4th May 2021, respectively. Mr. President, for the simple nature of these bills and inter-chamber reciprocity, I will use a single lead debate for these bills. With your permission, I may proceed, Mr. President.
You may proceed.
From the House of Representatives. They are 1, the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism Establishment Bill 2021, House Bill 45. 2, National Blood Service Commission Establishment Bill 2021, House Bill 181. Number 3, Federal College of Education Special Birnin Kudu Establishment Bill 2021, House Bill 169. And number 4, National Primary Healthcare Development Agency Act, Cap N26, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2021, House Bill number 39. National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism Establishment Bill 2021, House Bill 45 was read the first time on Tuesday, 20th October 2020. This bill establishes the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism, charged with the training, basic skills development, travel and tourism industry, hospitality and tourism personnel. National Blood Service Commission Establishment Bill 2021 was read the first time on Wednesday, 28 April 2021. The bill seeks to establish National Blood Service Commission to coordinate, regulate, and ensure the provision of quality blood and blood product services. Federal College of Education Special Birnin Kudu Establishment Bill 2021, which is House Bill 169, was read the first time in this chamber on Tuesday, 23rd March 2021. This bill seeks to establish the Federal College of Education Special at Birnin Kudu, Jigawa State, to provide full courses of teaching, instruction, and training in technology, applied science, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management. Then finally, the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency Act, Amendment Bill 2021, House Bill 39, was read for the first time on Tuesday, 4th May 2021. This bill seeks to repeal the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency Act, CAP N69 Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004 and enact the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency to provide for the definition and components of primary healthcare in Nigeria and for other related matters, which is now the new House Bill 39. Mr. President, my respected colleagues, distinguished senators, these bills were passed by both chambers of the National Assembly in the 8th National Assembly. They were straightforward and have again gone through the necessary legislative process in the House of Representatives. I therefore urge you to support the second reading of these bills as we refer them to the Committee of the Whole for close-by-close consideration. I thank you very much, my distinguished colleagues, and I thank you, Mr. President.
Any comments? Those in favor that these bills be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism for training, certification of registration of hospitality, travel and tourism personnel in Nigeria, and for related matters 2021, second reading, HB 45. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the National Blood Service Commission to coordinate, regulate, and ensure the provision of quality blood and blood products, and for related matters 2021, second reading, HB 181. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education Special, Birnin Kudu, Jigawa State, to provide for full-time courses, teaching, instruction, and training in technology, applied sciences, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management, and for related matters 2021, second reading, HB 169. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to repeal the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency Act, Cap 69, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and enact the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency to provide for definitions and components of primary health care in Nigeria, and for related matters 2021, second reading, HB 39.
A bill for an act to establish the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism for training, certification, and registration of hospitality, travel, and tourism personnel in Nigeria, and for related matters 2021, second reading taken. A bill for an act to establish the National Blood Service Commission to coordinate, regulate, and ensure the provision of quality blood and blood products, and for related matters 2021, second reading taken. A bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education Special, Birnin Kudu, Jigawa State, to provide full-time courses, teaching, instruction, and training in technology, applied sciences, arts, social sciences, humanities, and management, and for related matters 2021, second reading taken. A bill for an act to repeal the National Primary Health Care Development Agency Act, Cap N69, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria 2004, and enact the National Primary Health Care Development Agency to provide for definitions and components of primary health care in Nigeria, and for related matters 2021, second reading taken. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, in accordance with our Order 81, subsection 1, I will move a motion for the bills to be referred to the Committee of the Whole for close-by-close consideration. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate resolves into Committee of the Whole to consider the reports clause by clause, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, we start with the bill for an act to establish the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism. And because everything is retained. I'll go a little bit fast. Those in favor that clauses 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clauses 6 to 10. Those in favor that clauses 6 to 10 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clauses 11 to 15. Clauses 11 to 15. Those in favor that clauses 11 to 15 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clauses 16 to 20. Those in favor that clauses 16 to 20 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clauses 20, 22, clauses 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Those in favor that those clauses stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clauses 25 to 30. Those in favor that clauses 25 to 30 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that clauses 31 to 35 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clauses 36 to 40. Those in favor that clauses 36 to 40 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clauses 41 to 45. Those in favor that clauses 41 to 45 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clauses 46 to 50. Those in favor that clauses 46, 47, 48, 49, and 50 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clauses 51 to 55. Those in favor that clauses 51, 52, 53, 54, and 55 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the interpretation stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the short title stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that schedules stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the explanatory memorandum stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that the long title stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. The next bill is a bill for an act to establish the National Blood Service Commission. It too is retained all through. Those in favor that clauses 1 to 5 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Clauses 6 to 10. Those in favor that clauses 6 to 10 stands part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that clauses 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that clauses 16 to 20 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that clauses 21 to 25 stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it. Those in favor that interpretation stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the short title stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the schedule stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the explanatory memorandum stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the long title stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The next bill is a bill for an act to establish the Federal College of Education Special, Burnunkudu. Leader, I don't think this report is properly put. There is nothing to indicate whether it's returned or amended. The one I have does not give me that. Huh? No, but we don't have the committee recommendations. Where is it written? Yeah, I think so, because it's not guiding us properly. It's not telling us whether amended or, I don't know. Is there any explanation to this? Because they need to be properly guided, even if we are passing it. I would suggest that we stand down. No, but how would you know? This is not our bill. Yeah, they should, I think the House should deal with it properly. Yeah, we send it back. Let them guide us properly, because we need to understand what happened. We are not looking at the provision of the bill, we are looking at what they have done. Yeah, okay, so we stand, leader, move the motion.
Due to the inconclusive nature of the recommendations coming to this committee of the whole, I move that this motion on the establishment of the Federal College of Education Special Bindunkudu be returned to the House for proper clarification before it comes to the committee of the whole for reconsideration. I so move, sir.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that we stand down the consideration of this report till further legislative actions are taken by the House of Representatives, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The next bill is a bill for an act to amend the National Primary Health Care Development Agency. And of course, this is all retained. Sorry? Those in favor that clauses 1 to 5 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clauses 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Those in favor that clauses 6 to 10 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clauses 11 to 15 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that clauses 16 to 19 stand part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the interpretation stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the short title stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the schedule stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the explanatory memorandum stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor that the long title stands part of the bill, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, I rise to move a motion for the Senate to resume plenary and for the chair to report progress. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor that the Senate reverse to plenary for the chair to report progress, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Distinguished colleagues, the Senate and the Committee of the Whole considered the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism Establishment Bill 2021 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended, clauses 1 to 53 as recommended, interpretation as recommended, short title as recommended, the schedules as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? The Senate and the Committee of the Whole also considered the National Blood Service Commission Establishment Bill 2021 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended, clause 1 to 3 as recommended, interpretation as recommended, short title as recommended, schedule as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? The Senate and the Committee of the Whole also considered the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency Act Cap N69 Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2021 and approved as follows. Long title as recommended, clauses 1 to 17 as recommended, interpretation as recommended, short title as recommended, schedule as recommended, explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Clerk, this is incomplete. We stood down the consideration of, but we are supposed to have a report. The Senate Committee of the Whole stood down the consideration of the bill seeking to establish the Federal College of Education Special Burnum Kudu Establishment Bill 2021 for further legislative action. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Thank you. Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleague, I rise to move a motion for these bills to be read the third time.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that these bills be now read the third time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate.
Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism for training, certification and registration of hospitality, travel and tourism personnel in Nigeria and for related matters, 2021, third reading, HB 45. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to establish the National Blood Service Commission to coordinate, regulate, and ensure the provision of quality blood and blood products and for related matters, 2021, third reading, HB 181. Mr. President, distinguished senators, a bill for an act to repeal the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency Act, Cap 69, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and enact the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency to provide for definitions and components of primary healthcare in Nigeria and for related matters, 2021, third reading, HB 39.
Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the National Institute for Hospitality and Tourism for training, certification, and registration of hospitality, travel, and tourism personnel in Nigeria and for related matters, 2021, third reading taken, and the bill is passed. A bill for an act to establish the National Blood Service Commission to coordinate, regulate, and ensure the provision of quality blood and blood products and for related matters, 2021, third reading taken, and the bill is also passed. A bill for an act to repeal the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency Act, Cap N69, Laws of the Federation of Nigeria, 2004, and enact the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency to provide for definitions and components of primary healthcare in Nigeria and for related matters, 2021, third reading taken, and is also passed. Congratulations, Leader of the Senate.
Mr. President, my highly respected and distinguished colleagues, having concluded today's proceedings on the order paper, I hereby move for the Senate to adjourn until Wednesday, 19th May 2021. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, those in favor of the motion that the Senate do adjourn till tomorrow, Wednesday, the 19th day of May 2021 at 10 a.m. from say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate is hereby adjourned till tomorrow, Wednesday, the 19th day of May 2021 at 10 a.m. prompt.